Hi guys, Tim here from South Oz Hobby Hunter. Today I'm doing a quick review on a night vision scope that was given to me by oneleaf. This is the Commander NV400. Now the scope itself I would classify as a budget scope. At the moment it's retailing at just under $1,000 Australian, and obviously with the exchange rate around about 670 I think it is US dollars. So if you're in for a budget scope, have a look at these guys. Now, when I say budget scope, I don't mean cheap and nasty. I was actually thinking this was going to be one of those scopes that you sort of like go, oh yeah, it's okay, and if that's all I can afford, then I'll use it. Boy, was I surprised. Now, I'm not going to do an unboxing. I will show you what you get in the box, but I'm not going to open it up and show you each individual piece, because there are plenty of YouTube channels that will do that for you. So if you want to have a look at one of the unboxings, have a look at for the Commander NV400 and go to an unboxing video there. What I'm going to tell you is in the box you get the night vision scope. It has a 4x52 zoom. Now that is a 13 times digital zoom. So in the box, apart from the scope, you get your instruction manual. Now it is quite in-depth and it is written in English, so you don't need to translate it, and it is quite well done for a Chinese brand scope to be translated into a understandable English. You get your viewfinder lens cap. You get a choice of two rubberized eyepieces at two different lengths. So as you can see, they're slightly different in length. You get an objective lens sunshade. Now that attaches to the objective lens cover. Now this one has a opening in it, and the sunshade just screws in to the front of this. Now what that is for is you use the sunshade during the daytime, you take the sunshade off, and you have a mode called starlight or starry. And that's what that objective lens opening is for. And when it's nighttime, you take the whole thing off, or you can just flip the lens up and get it out the way and use the objective lens on the scope for nighttime viewing. Also in there, some Allen keys, a lens cloth, battery charger for the internal battery and for the battery in the IR torch. Now the IR torch has three modes, so a high, a low and medium, and it also has a focusable lens. So if you're shooting out to a long distance, you can zoom out the lens to get a tighter beam. If you're shooting at close range, you wind it back out and you get a nice flood. It also comes with a very basic mount that goes onto the scope. Now, when you're shooting at longer distances, if you've zeroed your torch at a close range and you go out to a further distance, you will actually have to adjust the point of aim of your torch so you get the optimum result for your night vision scope. There is a extended battery cover for the scope. So it has two internal batteries and one rechargeable replaceable battery. And if you want to put a slightly bigger battery in, you take the battery cover off and you put on the extended one. Finally, you get a USB-C cable which will charge your scope and the internal batteries. And it also comes with a HDMI mini. So you can actually plug this HDMI mini cable into your scope and plug it directly into a HDMI compatible TV or auxiliary screen. So here's the scope. This is what they sent me. As I said, it's a 4x52 zoom, and it has a 50 millimeter diameter objective lens and an adjustable diopter viewfinder at the rear. This one came with the laser rangefinder attached, and you can buy this scope without the laser rangefinder. It will be cheaper. However, there is something very important I'll get onto regarding the laser rangefinder. On the scope, we'll swing it around. On this side is your compartment that has your USB-C charging port, your mini HDMI cable input, and also a micro SD card. Now this scope came with a 64 gig SD card. Now it will go up to 256 gig, and that is the maximum size card you can put into this scope. In this port, you also have a manual reset, so you can actually hard reset your scope if you need to. For charging, as I said, all you do is plug in your USB-C charging cable into a USB port, similar to what you would do for your phone, and let it charge. Now, the external or extra battery is in this top compartment. So you unscrew the top part, and there is a battery in there. So you unscrew the cap off the battery compartment, and you have a short battery that you can be removed and replaced. Now, as I said, if you want to, you can upgrade your battery to a slightly bigger one. So this is an 18650 battery. Plonk that in, and using the larger end cap, screw that down. But I'll put the original one back in there just for safety. So I'll drop that in there, screw the cap down, and you're done. So what else do we have on the scope? So we have your focus wheel, objective lens focus. By rotating that in and out will give you a crisper image. As we go back, once again, the laser rangefinder, it does have a laser pointer on it, and you can adjust the laser pointer using the Allen keys on the side to zero it for your rifle. A little bit further back is your master control wheel. Now this wheel at the top here controls all your options and your functions in your menu. So if you press and hold that, it'll open up the menu and you can scroll down, and this is basically your yes or no button. So you scroll down in your menu, select what you want by pressing the OK on the master control wheel. Now in your normal scope operation, this control wheel will do your zoom in and zoom out function. It will also turn on and turn off your laser rangefinder. Below that here is your on-off button. So press and hold that and the scope will turn on. And to turn off, press and hold again and the scope will shut down. On the rear of the scope, you have three buttons. The forward one will do your video, turn the video on and off. The left button will change from your modes of operation. So you can have your night vision, your starry mode, and your daytime viewing. If you press and hold it, it will turn on your picture mode, or if you press and hold it again, it will turn off the picture-in-picture mode. The next button here, the one on the right hand side, will change your brightness intensity. So you can actually scroll from bright viewfinder to a dull viewfinder just by clicking that button as you desire. If you press and hold it, it will take you into the menu so you can actually review any stored images. So whether that be video or photos. So what else do you get in the box? Well, to be perfectly honest, there's not much else you need, except for two 30mm scope rings. These are Picatinny rail mounted, and they fit it quite nicely on my rifle. You just adjust the position of the scope to give the correct eye relief and correct mounting on your rifle. It's a pretty simple process, and if you've mounted any other scope, it'll be a doddle. Well, that's pretty much what you get in the kit. Now the specifications of the scope. As I said, a 4x52 zoom, which is a 13 times digital zoom. Now, as I said at the start of the video, I was a little bit skeptical of this. However, very pleasantly surprised on how good the zoom is and how good of image you get once you adjust your objective lens focus ring. The image was fantastic. It was really a great image. It will record in 4K at several different speeds. Now, most of the time, just keep it on the 60 frames per second, and that'll probably give you your optimum and best images. Now, you can go up to 120 if you want to do a little bit of slow-mo recording, and it will go down to 30 frames per second. You can actually drop it, the image quality down to 2K, and once again, that'll give you a 30 or a 60 frame per second image. And you can also go down to full HD. However, when you've got a scope that is this good, why would you worry about going down to full HD? Stick to either 2K or use it at its best at 4K. Now, like most digital scopes out on the market today, this has the one-shot zero. So you go into your mode, you take a shot on your target, and you go into your zeroing mode through the scroll wheel and into the menu, and you'll come up with an image. Now, what they should tell you to do is keep the white crosshairs on the point of aim, so where you were originally aiming at, and you move the red crosshairs onto the point of impact. Now, you use that by scrolling left or right using the master control wheel to do your windage. Once you're happy with the windage, press the master control wheel once, and it will take you to the elevation. Now, once again, using the scroll wheel, bring the red crosshairs up and down to match your point of impact. Once you're happy with where the red crosshairs are compared to your white crosshairs, then what you need to do is press the foremost button, press and hold that, and it'll actually bring you up an option, and it'll give you a choice of 6 different profiles where you can save that zero to. Once you're happy with which profile you are, press and hold the front button again, and it will save it. If you go out of the zeroing without going through the front button here, it won't save your profile and your scope won't be zeroed. Once you have your scope zeroed, you can choose your reticle pattern. Now, there are 7 to choose from and 5 colors to choose from, which are red, green, white, black, and purple. So there are plenty of choices to choose from, and I'm sure you'll find something that will suit your shooting. It also has an option where you can go first focal plane or second focal plane on your scope. So those traditional hunters that like to use your mil dots or your elevation scale on your scope, you can choose that, and you can choose your first or second focal plane, however you choose. That being said though, and recently, oneleaf has brought out an update for this scope, and it has fixed one of the problems that I was concerned about or disliked about this scope when I first looked at it, and that is the ballistic computer. When you get this scope, I would suggest you check out on the firmware and make sure you've got the current firmware. Oneleaf released a new firmware update, I think early January this year, and it is the number 7 update, and that gives you a few other little options that have fixed issues in the scope. But the main thing is it has introduced a ballistic computer into your scope. Now, I have yet to upload that file and flash the scope, so I didn't realize that was an option until the other night. So all my video, all my footage was done shooting offhand and allowing for elevation through hold over or hold under. And a lot of that is guesswork because most of my other scopes all have ballistic computers. So with the videos that I show you, please be aware that it was all done offhand and all guesswork on what point of aim was to take. I will go out and upgrade the firmware, and then I'll take the scope out again and give a better review, or an updated review. I won't say better review. I'll give an updated review with the ballistic computer and tell you if it's on par or better than my other scopes. Now, if it is better than my other scopes, I'm going to be really pissed off because I spent over $2,000 on my current ATN scope. Now, as I said, this one comes in at under $1,000 Australian. That's with the rangefinder, that's with the IR illuminator and an SD card. Batteries, you name it, it's got everything that you need. So, as I said, a budget entry level scope, but it has all the bells and whistles, and now with the ballistic computer, it has everything that you could really need. Well, there's not much else to tell you, apart from a few of the other features. You know, it's got the gyroscope, so it will tell you how much elevation you're leaning at or can't on your rifle. It does have a compass, so it will give you a direction that you're aiming at. That might be helpful if you know which direction the wind's blowing, and you can just look through your scope and go, okay, I've got 20k an hour wind from the east, and I'm looking to the west, so you know how far to hold off to allow for the projectile. It has a waterproof rating of IP67, which is okay. You know, you're not going to go and swim with it, but if it's raining out there, as long as you've got all your caps on, you're not going to get water into the scope and it's going to work fine. Just remember when you get home to wipe it down and dry it off. Well, that's it, guys. That's a quick rundown of the Commander NV400. As you can see, it is a traditional style scope. So if you are one of the purists and you like the look of a real scope, then this one's going to sit right into that niche area. Price-wise, you can't beat it. As I said, under $1,000 Australian. It may be cheaper, maybe a little bit more, depending on the exchange rates. But for what you're getting in the box, you're not going to be upset. Now, the IR illuminator. Now, it is a good little illuminator. One of the videos I show you, I'm viewing out to 100 meters. Well, actually, I think it's a little bit over 100 meters. I wasn't zoomed in, but the image that I was getting from the IR illuminator and the scope at that distance was quite phenomenal. And the amount of rats out there it was a lot of fun that night, let me tell you. If you do want to keep this one, you may want to upgrade the mounting bracket to a slightly better one, or if you can afford it, you're never going to go wrong with a bigger, brighter torch. But as I said, this one will suffice. It's got 3 power levels, so low, medium and high, and it does have a focusable beam. So you can actually zoom it right out and get right out as far as you can with this scope, with the torch, and that will match up with this scope. Is it going to be great? Is it going to be as good as the $500 or $600 Coyote cannons or the Fox Pros that are out there? Probably not, no. But then again, you're not paying that sort of money. This comes with the scope at, once again, under $1,000 Australian. So guys, I'll chuck a few videos up here and there. I hope you've enjoyed what I've shown you. I will be getting this scope back out again once I've put the firmware through it and had a bit of a play with it, and let you know how much more improvement the ballistic computer has made to this scope. I'm hoping that I'm going to be blown away with this. And if I'm blown away with it, I guarantee there's going to be a few rats and a few pigeons that will also get blown away with it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Tim from South Oz Hobby Hunter. Until next time, stay safe, keep calm, and gently squeeze the trigger. Warning: this video contains images of feral pests being shot using a rifle of suitable caliber. Please do not watch if you are likely to be offended. Furthermore, if you make any comments that are either negative, political, or religious, they will be removed from my channel. So here's a few videos from my latest shoot using this scope. As you can see, it's very minimalistic with the distance up in the top right hand corner and the time date stamp down in the bottom right hand corner. Once you adjust the focus ring on this scope, you get a crisp, clear image. And I would put it on par with the ATN scopes that I currently use. Here's a few rats, and once again the image is, as I said before, on par with the ATN scopes. These two blue images are for the starry setting on the night vision scope. It is designed for twilight shooting or low light, but you can use it with the IR torch as well. Thanks again for watching. If you like my videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. To get notifications of new videos, click on the bell. And until next time, please stay safe, keep calm, and gently squeeze the trigger.